bucket,
But the
if
thing
I
is,
may say.
but wasn't John Lithgow, wasn't he like, he was so perfect.
Oh, he was
but
just
the
great.
thing is, you can see where that charm is,
Yeah,
right? How
yeah.
he's a smooth talker and how he takes over the whole, you know, and how people go down. But in this, and what about the wives? Tell me a little bit of what you thought about the wives. See, I'm taking David's job right now. It's like, hey, let me see what you think about this.
I kind of felt sorry for the wives in the sense that they, as I recall it, I've only seen it once and I want to see it again.
Watch the wives when you see it again.
They had to referee everything.
Don't feel sorry for the wives.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because this is one of the takeaways, okay? And this is why, like, you hear a lot of things they're saying, you know, about white women gave the vote to Trump and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people are saying stuff about white women. Okay, I get it. I totally get it. Two things I want to bring up about that. One, I think white women have been oppressed, even though some people don't want to say it, because guess who they hang out with? White men who are rich. And so they are oppressed in some kind of way. But at the same time, they are, what's that? Like co-conspirators. They're enabling those assholes to do this. If hot white women
Behind
stopped,
every strong man.
if hot white women stopped dating rich white men and hot everybody else, stay away from them, okay? And then everything will collapse into something better. Into something better.
Yeah. What was the other just interesting personal note for me in that movie was I saw Lithgow play in Madame Butterfly on Broadway, and to see the two contrasts was really entertaining.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he
but
really
Salma was amazing, and
she was.
What about the thing where? Well, we won't talk about like the ending or anything like that, but just I think it really just shows like this beautiful like soul of the people and love for the people versus pure, unadulterated greed. And so, if anybody out there likes to see those kind of things and maybe want to wake up, you know,
this is a lovely way to do it.
I don't know if it's lovely, but it's like it's
artfully
heartbreaking.
done.
It's heartbreaking, but eye-opening. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of things that rich people think they should have and other people shouldn't.
Like 20 mansions?
Well, I was going to say healthcare. And not all rich people, but particularly, excuse me, the ones in Congress. The new Senate healthcare bill, which I think is ironically named because it's called something like the Better Care Reconciliation Act, and you've got America all looking at Congress going, you better care, and they don't seem to. Once again, they are trying to tell us that we will save money by buying a car without an engine.
That's well said.
Thank you. Well, I think that's one of the biggest problems is with, going back to what you were saying about the propaganda and being able to sell people ideas that are factually incorrect. It comes down to the soundbite. And it's focusing on the trees and not seeing the forest. You want to lower premiums? I'll tell you how to lower premiums. We'll take out all the things that'll, provide health care for you, and that'll lower premiums. Okay, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Maybe another way would be to put some regulations. How about putting some regulations on the insurance companies?
Yeah.
Well, no, all regulations are bad. Really? All regulations? Even the ones that are going to protect the consumers and save you money? And this is how they do things like Citizens United.
Yeah.
They, and the recent Supreme Court decision in favor of Hobby Lobby. Corporations are people, and do you hate the First Amendment? Forget the argument that money equals speech.
Everything's
just
hidden.
Is not true.
Everything's hidden behind other names.
We're going to take that off the table and just focus on this is infringing on your First Amendment rights. Well, no, it isn't. Maybe you see this as infringing on your First Amendment rights because you think you are entitled to more speech and a bigger seat at the table because you have more money.
Right.
Not saying that's right, but I can see how you might think that.
I think some of those voters of Trump, I think that's what they think too. They're like, that guy's rich. That guy has a hot wife. He's got a cool family. He's got all kinds of, he's on TV. He's this and that. And my grandparents said vote for him because we're Republican, our whole lives. Let's just do that.
Yeah,
And I don't like Hillary anyway. I think that's what they were doing.
People who would never buy anything, buy seminars
exactly.
from an infomercial with a guy on a boat surrounded by bikini chicks saying, I have all this and you can too. They voted for him.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the beer commercials or any commercials where the guy has two chicks. It's just those are the people like I want two
twins.
chicks,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Sorry to call you chicks, ladies. Right. I'm not trying to make you look bad. Yeah.
But it's this misguided aspirational thinking. It's this bullshit belief in stuff like The Secret. That I years ago.
What is The Secret?
It's bullshit is what it is.
There's nothing wrong with The Secret.
Yeah, there is.
You know a secret?
A little bit.
Well, I'm talking about capital T, capital S. The bullshit prosperity gospel crap. That years ago I dated. I will admit it. I dated a Republican. Didn't.
How dare you?
Well, she was a punky chick. It was
How
one of
dare
those
you?
things like you just don't think there's going to be a Republican.
You are not
in here.
thinking.
But she justified voting for Bush by the fact that she was trying to launch a business, and he's just better for business. And I'm telling her, look, I realize the vote is in the past. There's nothing we can do to change it, but he doesn't care about businesses
your
of
little
your
business.
size.
Yeah.
I understand how aspirationally you think, well, one day my business is going to be big enough that his policies are going to make my business better. But you know what? You're not there yet. Before the show, we were hanging out. We were talking about the housing collapse in 2008, not the sinkholes in Florida of this weekend. But it's the fact that people will buy these loans or take these loans that they can't afford because they think, oh well, yeah, I'm going to be in that position to be able to afford it, so I'm going to get it now. Yeah. Well, don't do that.
Right. Well, those
Just
people
say
also
no.
Yes,
Just
look
say
to
no.
the future.
Say yes to weed,
look
but
to the
say
future,
no to
but
that.
don't ignore what
No
is
to
right
that.
in front of your face.
Well, but when you have people who are selling you on a way, it's the way they sell it. I mean, how did they get you to buy a car? They eventually found out who you were. They found out what's your favorite color, what's your, and they started as soon as you bought Ford only had black cars. But Sloan, when he started General Motors, he started having blues and reds and whites and all these things. They found out about you.
As Hunter S. Thompson once said, never had any complaints about the blue ones.
Yeah,
That's the only thing they want to know about you, so
Right.
they can sell to
right.
you.
Well, because we're
Yeah.
we're a consumers-driven society now, so that's how I sell you.
And I don't like the word consumer. I like customer, and there's no such thing as customer service anymore, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
just consumers.
Right.
We're just
well,
numbers.
consumer. If you break the word down, it means con, because you're being conned.
Thank you very
into,
much.
To buying into things that you don't need. You're being bought into a system.
Absolutely, man.
that is not helping you. You say, "Oh, I don't want regulation." Well, guess what? You got to have regulation because
Or you
man.
get Flint water,
Well,
you know?
yeah, you
Yeah.
get Flint water because man and his ways and the way that they think.
Amen.
Are going to take advantage of you. It's you want someone to be pure and say, hey, fight for his fellow man, but when you live in a capitalistic society, capitalism is not about humanity. There's nothing of it. You have to make it be about humanity,
It's
but
about
it is
money,
not about
yeah.
humanity.
By the way, quick tangent on Flint water.
Power to the people. Sorry.
No. Kid Rock announced this week that he's going to run for Senate.
No.
Yeah, oh,
Really?
Do
Yeah, I
this to
remember
me.
that. Yeah, he
In
did.
Michigan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got a clip or anything? I want to hear that now.
No. It's
Oh, my goodness.
Who's he gonna
on
run
Twitter.
against?
Who?
I don't
Debbie
know.
Stabenow is. Wait, is Debbie
Wow.
Stabenow up there? She's a good member.
I liked him when I saw him at the VH1, whatever that was. He was all right. He was like, that was a long time ago.
But
though.
this is what
a
Trump has enabled.
I thought he was from Detroit. What happened?
Yeah, he is. Well,
what the
Detroit's
hell?
in
What
Michigan,
happened? I know,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
running
But
for
Detroit,
Senate in
Detroit,
Michigan.
Detroit. What's wrong with
Yeah.
him? He's
But he's,
racist, I guess.
yeah.
Not racist. I thought he was all right, and then he turned bad.
He's
over
with
the
Bush.
last
I mean,
many
he's
years.
with Trump. He supports Trump.
Yeah, he
Who
got
does?
extremely
Kid
Rock
brainwashed
does.
over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He got tired of being told that he's just a white boy that can't dance. I guess I don't know what happened.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Then you
one
can
of the
do-
things that comes to
Fuck
mind
Kid Rock.
in this whole thing is
Fuck
that
Ted Nugent too. Sorry, I
is it-
had to say fuck to both of those people.
one of the ways that we've dealt with capitalism that you just mentioned is we said that if it's out there alone, it's harmful.
Yes.
So we've had this contract that started to some degree during FDR, in the 1930s, that says that you can have capitalism, you can have profit, you can have personal ownership, but it's the government's role to protect and to regulate against the extremes of that.
Yes.
And one of the ways that it regulates and protects against the extremes of that is through social insurance programs. And the key social insurance programs have been Social Security
Yes.
in 1935, Medicare in 1965, Medicaid in 1965, and then to a smaller scale, unemployment insurance, protection.
Anything labor.
Anything,
yes.
right? Thank you.
Disability.
Labor,
Right.
Yeah.
Protections in terms of women's reproductive reproductive
Workers'
rights.
right. Yeah.
And
So
it's
you don't get your arm cut off in the factory, right? You know
Or
what
if
I'm
you
saying?
do,
Like,
you've
and
got
if you do,
health care,
exactly.
to take
You
care of you.
you get a day off, and
So the contract,
It's
it's actually in some ways a functional contract. And what the Republicans have dedicated their ideological lives to is a reversal of that. And they used to be part of it.
Right.
Richard Nixon expanded Social Security to include persons with disabilities. Dwight Eisenhower signed the law for Social Security that expanded it to include surviving children. So my point is that at the same time they still were pro-market. I'm talking about these Republicans. They still were conservative in comparison to democratic ideals. But what's happened is that the Eisenhower wing has eroded and been taken over by and essentially it was the Gingrich Revolution that began this period.
yeah.
And the problem with Trump, in some ways, is that he doesn't really care about this stuff. He's not. He doesn't have his eye on certain outcomes and certain. I really don't know
What do you
what
mean he doesn't have his eye on outcomes? He wants his wall to be transparent so people don't get hit in the head with 60-pound sacks of drugs. If that isn't looking to the future, I don't know what
Well,
is.
you know,
I don't know where that comes from,
Well,
but my
remember-
point is,
He said that on
My-
Air Force One this week.
Well,
okay,
remember he
here's
was
what I'm
one-
trying to say.
Yeah.
Let
please.
me just give me another second. I'm not saying that he doesn't have political aspirations, or even program or legislative aspirations, but what he doesn't seem to be is, it's like he'll do whatever the last person talked to him asked him to do, and in this case, he's surrounded by the absolute worst.
He picked those people.
Tom Price, who is the Secretary of Health and Human Services,
By name only.
began his career once he got his medical degree. He began his career campaigning against Clinton care in the 1990s. This guy is ideological. He is anti-consumer. He is pro-industry. There's a new book. You know, I'm with Social Security Works, and we now have a publishing house called Strong Arm Press. Our first book that we published is called Into the Ooze, and it's a political biography of Price. And this guy is as corrupt and mean-hearted and shitty as it comes, because he doesn't even care about the principles of his own agency. So here's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We can say people are stupid, and a lot of them are. We can say they've been manipulated, but we're in the middle of a ideological war in this country that if we lose, people will die.
Yeah.
200,000 people, it's anticipated, if this piece of crap, this health care bill passes, in the first 10 years, 200,000 people will die from it because they won't have access to a doctor or a hospital. The Cruz amendment that just came up just this last week is essentially a blank slate for insurance companies. And the insurance companies are smart enough to oppose it, actually.
Really?
But it's a blank slate in the sense that there's no requirements for what's called essential benefits. In Obamacare, there was
Mental health care?
10 essential benefits: mental health care, ambulatory patient care, hospitalization,
Reproductive care for women?
right, rehab services,